Right in the heart of a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they plotting on man. Don't wipe their feet when they enter the lab. I feel a cold stare.
Every time Republicans get office, they do a few things. They cut taxes for the rich, they cut benefits for the poor, they blow up the deficit, they start a war in the Middle East, and then they cause a recession. We've done the first four, the fifth one's coming. Is there anything wrong with this analysis, Woodrow, or would you agree?
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. You're saying every recession has been caused by a Republican president?
When was the last recession that was caused under a Democrat? He doesn't know. He doesn't. Jimmy Carter.
Okay.
You know how long ago that was?
How long? Yeah,
7 out of the 8 last recessions were under Republicans.
Right. Let's just go through all those. So you're saying those are the only, there's never been a recession under Biden? There's never been.
It was not a recession under Biden.
No.
Fact. No.
Okay. All right. Learn something new every day.
This is why Republicans are predictable. As you said, tax breaks for the rich, blow up the deficit, cause a recession, war in the Middle East. What am I missing? I done forgot one. But, cut programs for the poor. That's normal. And the thing about it is, in my lifetime, most people who come into money like being Republicans. And that's why it's like, I might have been, when I was broke, my family was Democrats. We got paper now. Republican, baby. I need my money. I need the money. I need that cheese. So it's like F everybody else who are poor in a sense, who are poorer than me or my family, right? So the deficit thing, that was a Republican thing about being fiscally responsible and getting rid of big government, but they keep upping the deficit to the point where you're going to be dependent on government. So it's like counterproductive. War in the Middle East. Geez, I didn't think about that, but Iran Contra. I didn't think about that. Iran Contra, because that's 2 presidents. That's Reagan and Bush. Other Bush was what? Is it Desert Storm or Desert Storm? No, that's Clinton. Desert Storm. I forgot Operation Freedom, whatever it was. That was a war in Iraq, and then here we go with Trump. All right, but to be fair, Obama inherited a war and extended a war, so because there's Iraq, Afghanistan. Clinton, he went to war with Iraq, but it was like that Desert Storm didn't last but a few months, but still counts as war though. So that's a thing. But the confusion in this guy's eyes, like, what? I don't understand. Like, is that a thing? I got to think about this. And it's like, well, the reason why Republicans are predictable is because the things that affect the general public of America, in my lifetime, Democrats did it better. Even though he talked about Jimmy Carter had caused a recession, I'm surprised. I think he took over from Nixon, but Jimmy Carter was ahead of the curve on green energy, which is part of our issue of being energy dependent now. But America just didn't want to do that. So for me, it offsets, but that's just me. Now, because you can get something right, but society can see it wrong, and then years later, that's why people don't really want to bring it up. That was the unspoken thing about Jimmy Carter. It was like, yeah, it's bad, da, 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 da. But it's like, damn, we could have been so far ahead energy wise. Whole EV thing could have been knocked out of the park. Y'all forget about like the DeLorean and man, y'all get. I ain't even gonna get into all that, but what wound up happening when I see this guy's face, and that I started thinking about was, how did Republicans get into power? And it was usually propaganda. You know, let's hate blacks, let's hate gays, let's hate immigrants, you know, family values. But the whole time, um, war, recession, raise the deficit, lower rich folks' taxes. And it's like, bro, how do y'all keep falling for this? But then I had to think about it. When you make people an enemy, and I hate to do this, um, because white America is the majority, white America can vote against an enemy even if it ain't real. But also, people who are well off will vote for their economic interests. You know, and ultimately, and I'm not telling people just vote Democratic. That's not what this is about. Ultimately, when they keep saying the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and there's class warfare, and more of the 1%, is taking all of the resources. Ultimately, that was a Republican thing, and to me, it kind of goes back into the idea that if white people are not going to be the majority, they're going to have the majority of the resources. So that's what Republicans are enabling, right? And but the way it's been done, white America is going to have the majority of the debt, and that's why you see things happening like, unfortunately, man, you heard of farmers losing their land, and you know, um, how can I say this? So many people losing their jobs, and the concept of AI replacing everybody, and it's like, yo, it basically looks like the Republican Party is creating Mad Max. We're gonna have 10% of America that's living good, and the rest 90% gonna suffer. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay. And part of that concept, and I see the arrogance in it. It's usually bad built, weak looking men who think they're intellectual, and they think they're made for the collapse of the American economy because they're smart and they got a few dollars in their pocket, and not realizing they're not good at being targets. They're going to be the hunted. You know that was the premise of the Luigi Mangione thing. Like, yo, you keep playing, people are going to start actually acting out those thought patterns and beliefs, because it's like, hey, man, there is no fairness, there is no justice per se. As a black person, it's like, it's America, and America ain't never had fairness and justice. But that's for us. For other people, that's not the case. So you gonna have a a real issue on your hands, and because the problem and the reason why I'm making this video actually is because by the time Trump's term ends, it's not a guarantee that people are going to want to put a Democrat in office, or a Democrat can win. So, and even though you see people who are staunch Republicans, but more so staunch MAGA supporters, they still have a hard time going, he didn't do what we thought he was going to do, and it's not working out the way I thought. But they'll vote for the same stuff all over again. You get what I'm saying? Because the we don't like them people rally went through 3 different campaigns. We don't like them people rally went through even with George Bush's campaign, W. George W. Bush's campaign. You know, because what people gravitated to was a dislike for other people. So, and you'll hate somebody else to the point that you'll cut off your nose to spite your face. You're going to suffer. And then when you're suffering, the world is coming to an end. And oh my God, I don't know why this is happening. Bro, that's all the people who was on Obamacare and the people who quote unquote needed the system and the DEI people who now they wish they had DEI. It's like, bro, y'all are stupid. But y'all vote for this because, you know, your manifest destiny chip has been, that it has been targeted, oh, it's going to lose America. Yeah. And then rich get richer, poor get poorer. I'm not poor. I'm just on these government programs. They cut them all. Why would they cut them all? Don't cut mine, cut the niggers. It's like, you idiot. Deficit goes up, inflation goes up. I can't afford anything. I don't understand what happened. I thought you understood politics, though. But guess what? When all this is said and done, if they see black folks not spazzing out and tripping like the rest of America, like, oh, what are we gonna do? Basically, they're gonna get another candidate. He gonna go to them black people acting like they doing good in this. We hate them. We hate them. We hate them. We hate them. They might take over. Yeah, they might take over. You gotta vote against it because they got bad family values. Blah blah blah. And then y'all vote for the same thing all over again. And then the deficit will be $100 trillion. Inflation will be through the roof, and then it'll be over by then. And it's so predictable because it's like clockwork. You go dormant for a few years, somebody rouse you up, and then it's like, oh. But just tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Catch you on the next one. Peace.